got this weird idea to shoot something on an iPhone.
There's basically space for whatever sort of film it is that you've created.
Being at Cannes was an extraordinary experience. The player, the viewer, whatever we want to call them, expect to be involved.
There we go. What do you think?
You've got to all the time say what matters about the story for the audience.
Milo, come and have your tea. I've made your favourite. All right.
Creating characters that are digital and putting them into that space is essential. You know, actors historically have been put off motion capture because they think, well, it's not capturing my face, it's just capturing my movements, so what? Whereas I think lots of actors now, particularly with the rise of Andy Serkis and the sort of the talk about Oscars for his performance in some of his films, I think actors begin to realise how interesting it is as a medium and how much of their personality actually is brought into their performance. The way that I did it was I just immersed myself in the video game studio. I talked to animators, I watched making of videos, and eventually I was sent out to Los Angeles to a motion capture studio, and we shot motion capture, and I was sort of thrown in the deep end really. But I kind of had enough understanding beforehand by talking to the animators in terms of what they needed to understand what my job was.
So that I ordered that agent to shoot, even though she didn't have a clear shot. I'm sorry.
Motion capture essentially is taking human motion and creating data that then can be animated. Somebody, clever American, invented the remote control on the television, and I believe that's where this all began. That's the moment when the audience at home did not have to get up and change the channel and argue about it. They could do it from the comfort of their sofa, i.e. they started to interact with the entertainment they were watching. And I think that's where the concept of the consumer having active choice on the screen that they watch at home began. And we've never looked back. So I don't think that it's suddenly about video games being invented. I think it's about a whole mindset and the way the technologies back that up, which is that the consumer, the player, the viewer, whatever we want to call them, expects to be involved. And I think that's the thing that's really radical.
I think I fell in love with cinema when I was a teenager, but I never imagined you could get close to making it. What I was interested in was the sort of luxury of the storytelling process, which is so sort of dynamic within cinema. Any film you make sort of begins with the script, and that's your calling card. So to get an established actor, they need to connect with the script. And the amazing thing is when you meet them, you realize how much of the script they get, and therefore you don't need to sort of lecture them or tell them about the film that you want to make. What you're doing instead is sort of opening a door and inviting them to come in for the ride, basically. Some of the greatest actors I've worked with really want to lose control, rather than boss the whole process. And one of the most extraordinary actors I've been lucky enough to work with was Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was a very serious method actor in the sense that he liked to stay in character. I persuaded him on the first day of the shoot to walk continuously between takes. And he liked the idea of this. So for the next 6 weeks between takes, he would walk around the camera crew, who were quite terrified, I think. And then I would time it, so I'd start running so that he would then step into the scene and he would already be out of breath, which just helped that sort of discomfort and unease of the character. So you sort of invent lots of kind of strange methods like that, depending on who you're actually working with. With John Hurt, he liked getting a usable take in about 3 goes, whereas with someone like Philip, he liked at least 12, and had he had his way, we would still be shooting it now. You have to kind of adapt to what actors' preferences are, because ultimately they're your key storytellers. Of course, the lighting is important, what the camera is doing is important, all these various departmental elements, but ultimately it's the cast that is the key kind of storytelling element, and it's the cast that is what the audience is watching. I think a big challenge for any director is to never lose sight of what matters. Often I don't bother with wide shots, establishing shots. I want to come into a scene much tighter on the character and what matters. And the art department is a little disappointed because they want the wide shots to show off all their work. In a strange way, the process of directing is in disappointing a lot of your heads of department, but having to take that on the chin because you are there for the audience. You're not there to spend a lot of someone else's money making a very interesting technical camera move to go on somebody's show reel. You've got to all the time say what matters about the story for the audience.
Being at Cannes was an extraordinary experience. In the Hills is a 20-minute drama. It's about a young man of immigrant background. It's about his attempts really to integrate into English society and the rather radical and unconventional approach he takes to that. On a more basic level, it's about loneliness and the idea of connections between people, and about the difference between kind of purely physical connection and an emotional one. At the heart of a good story, there is something that connects, to the human condition. There's something that we can all see and share and appreciate. And it was one of the things Hamid said several times, that he didn't think the film had much chance in the competition because he thought it was too English, and that the dynamics of it, the things it was playing on, were too rooted in a kind of English experience, albeit from an outsider's perspective. And I think it was quite telling, actually, that people of many nationalities really responded to the film, and that actually there was something at the heart of it about the disconnect between the individual and the society he was a part of, that's not just about English society, it's not just about being an Iranian or being an immigrant. It's something that we can all recognise and we can all see a little bit. I graduated at the beginning of the year, and In the Hills played at Cannes kind of just after that, which was really a very nice cherry on top. Since then, I've been working principally as a freelance editor in London on various kind of short film, music video, corporate projects, a real mishmash. I'm also attached to Hamid's in-development feature film as the producer, so that's something that's still in the early stages, but we're hoping to use the success of our short at Cannes as a springboard to something bigger and better. I've learned an awful lot at film school, but I really think the biggest boost to my learning and my experience has been just mucking in and getting involved. Not every film will be good, many of them will be very bad, but good and bad experiences combine and they make you a better filmmaker. The more you do it, the more you learn. And the more opportunities present themselves.
The beauty of film is giving it to an audience and letting people watch it. What the Aesthetica Short Film Festival does is it puts the films into these different locations. So you kind of get a map with the 15 different venues on it. And because it's a small, sort of enclosed city, it's very easy to walk between the places. And the way that we program it as well is that we try and make it so that everybody has a chance to see the films they want to see. It's an international event. We get people from all over the world, and the masterclasses include people from the BBC and Channel 4 and loads of different companies like that. But in terms of the feel of the festival, it's very intimate and it's very friendly. And I think that's probably the key thing about it. I know plenty of people that go to the festival alone, and they're never alone really, because they're going to meet loads of other people there. Everyone's really there because they love film, so yeah, it's pretty great. The idea behind the festival is to kind of elevate short film and offer a platform for it. So many brilliant short films that are made, and maybe they just get shown once or they never get shown. And so we'd kind of like to show people. As a programmer in a film festival, what I look for when I'm programming a film is something that has a compelling subject matter, told in a way that I guess is efficient and tells a visual story. I'm looking for films that know how to use their time well. For me, I enjoy the human aspect of stories as well, so anything that kind of involves insight into either an issue or an individual is really important to me.
I got this weird idea to shoot something on an iPhone.
Interview 5.
I was coming to the school. I was very much a person like, I want to shoot on film, I want the best cameras, I want the best visuals you can have. And that weird idea that started off as a semi-joke has opened up a whole new way of filmmaking to me that is very fun. It's not that I might not go back to shooting on bigger cameras, but there is a whole aspect of it where you don't know what you're doing, and I can't go online and check if someone else has done the same, and that's scary, but it's also great, and it's what I love. It's when I get excited. The attitude I really have started getting is when I approach these projects is I try to diminish the quality of the image, and basically you take away the natural look of the camera by adding, by putting stuff in front of the lens that sort of distorts it, darkens it, whatever, makes it dirty, and these things I think make images very beautiful. So what I did was with the DP and I just went on the location with the screenshots and the car and the phone, and just started testing out which shots we both liked and we both could relate to. And we, weirdly enough, subconsciously gave names to these shots. So like that was the one was the Itumara Tamien shot. And so on the day, we didn't really know what we were shooting until we saw what the actors were doing. And then I would tell to the DP, oh, I want the paper moon shot, the paper moon medium shot. And so we created this weird, it was quite natural and flexible language that was kind of nice, because I've always been used to storyboarding things very heavily and being quite rigid and about it, and this was very freeing and fun.